That's a perfect segue into I wanted to ask you. So James Harden is now top 10 in points. And that sounds like it makes sense, right? He's one of the best offensive players of our generation. Then you start looking at the names in the top 10. LeBron, Kareem, Karl Malone, Kobe, Michael Jordan, Dirk, Wilt Chamberlain, Kevin Durant, Shaq, and now James Harden. That's
Yeah.
insane. When you look at it like that, you realize how big of a deal that is. I bet you he's even, I'm sure he's had so many accolades and everything. I bet you this one even
Listen,
means a little more.
we've been for the longest time. We've been I think in my eyes, I think for the longest time, people have found ways to depict James a certain way. I think everyone sometimes focuses on the things that James doesn't do or hasn't done instead of the brilliance and things that he has done. All right, people talk about his playoff performances, the foul baiting. When are we going to get past some of these? You know what I'm saying? Like, not everything's about rings, and we've had that conversation many times before. It comes to the point where if we're going to highlight statistics, then let's highlight them all. Somebody being top 10 in scoring in the history of the invention of this game, and the list that he's on, Kareem and Michael and Kobe and bro, like, what do you, it's time to put like that type of respect on James Harden. I think James Harden's the third greatest shooting guard of all time. Fourth.
Whoa, that's over Dwayne Wade.
No, I meant fourth. I'm sorry. I think James Harden is the fourth greatest
By
shooter.
the way, I was like, whoa, over Dwayne Wade. You go, no. Okay, relax.
Well,
But
yeah,
he's right
I had
there,
a,
though.
and he's right there at three. The only reason he's not on Dwayne Wade is Dwayne Wade's ability to win championships, whether it was with LeBron or without LeBron. He won one, before LeBron. He won one with LeBron. That pushes him over the James because we're talking straight offense. James is a different level than Dwayne Wade, quite frankly.
Yeah.
James could do more offensively. James is more dominant on the offensive end than Dwayne Wade. But
Well,
Dwayne
Dwayne
Wade,
Wade was part of the last generation that could be a good shooting guard without being
a great shooter.
elite level 3 point shooter. Yeah.
Correct. And, what he did defensively, he was always one of the league leaders in blocks as a guard. He had all these little intangibles. And then, not to mention, just clutch performance, Gene. Dwayne Wade's one of the better clutch players we've seen in our game. In the playoffs, this guy just took over series. The finals run he had versus Dallas, he had this whole team on his back, being down 2 games to 0. Like, this dude just willed that team back. That's the type of stuff that you got to stamp him, especially when we're comparing him to James. Unfortunately, it's not like James was like right there. Like, James is the complete opposite in terms of like when you talk about the playoff and the clutch and willing a team to a championship, he don't have that. So that's why it's not really a debate. Because if you took all that out, which again is a lot, but if you took that out and just went for stats and performance, Dwayne Wade or James right there, dog. Regardless, James is the fourth greatest shooting guard in all of NBA history, in my opinion. And I think James Harden is on the Mount Rushmore for shooting guards. You chisel in Mike first, you chisel in Kobe second, you chisel in Dwayne Wade third. In my eyes, the second greatest shooting guard, the fourth greatest shooting guard in the history of the game is James Harden. And I
A guy
think
that's
when
led
you're
the NBA in assists, by the way. That's how
a guy
like
who's led,
revolutionary he is at that position.
he's led anybody who's led the league. First off, he's an MVP. All right, so let's put that up there. He's won an MVP in an era with like prime LeBron and Steph Curry. Okay, he's led the league in scoring multiple times. And he's led the league in assists. Uh, there's nothing else. And by the way, he could have won 2 MVPs. That one of those Steph MVPs could, or Giannis MVPs. There was a couple, either of those. One of those years
It was
was
the Russell Westbrook triple double year. James Harden was right there.
uh, James averaged 36 my last year playing, and the last guy to do that was Mike. So like
Yeah.
when you start putting the numbers out there of what James has put up in the league and still putting up, this not even his James. This guy James not even like in his prime necessarily anymore. He had 50 the other week, guys. So like you got to put respect on him. No, has he been the most clutch in the playoffs? No, has he won a championship? No, but like everything else is there. So maybe he doesn't get Dwayne Wade because of those things, but he's on his ass. He's right there. Pause. But he's close, and I have him. On the Rushmore. Yeah.